My ex and my best friend. You won't believe what happened. The air in my apartment felt thick, heavy with unspoken anxieties. Liam and I had been broken up for 6 months, and while we told everyone it was mutual, a gentle drifting apart, the truth was I was still secretly hoping we'd find our way back to each other. 3 years, sharing an apartment, building a life. It felt like more than just a casual fling. And then there was Chloe. My best friend since, well, forever. We'd navigated awkward teenage years, terrible haircuts, and questionable fashion choices together. She was my confidante, the first person I called with good news, the shoulder I cried on when things went south. Liam and Chloe had always been friendly, polite, but nothing more. Liam was my boyfriend, and Chloe was like my sister. Lately, though, things felt off. Chloe was acting strange. Vague excuses, canceled plans, a weird avoidance of talking about Liam altogether. I tried to brush it off. Maybe I was just being paranoid, still raw from the breakup, projecting my insecurities onto everything. Girls' night tonight, my treat, Chloe texted one Friday. I smiled, relieved. Deal. Where should we go? Oh, actually, she replied a few hours later. Something came up, feeling kinda sick. Rain check. I typed back a sympathetic message, but a knot of unease tightened in my stomach. Sick. Chloe never got sick. The seed of suspicion had been planted. It started small, almost imperceptible. A flicker of recognition in their eyes when I mentioned a specific restaurant, a shared inside joke that went right over my head. A photo popped up on my feed. Liam and a group of friends out at a new bar downtown. In the background, blurred but unmistakable, was Chloe. I scrolled through the images. There she was again, laughing, her hand brushing Liam's arm. Innocent enough, right? But then I saw the caption on one of the photos, posted by Mark, Liam's idiot best friend. Looks like someone's moved on new couple alert. My heart hammered against my ribs. I took a screenshot, my hands shaking. I confronted Chloe the next day, meeting her at our usual coffee shop. Chloe, what's going on? I asked, trying to keep my voice even. I showed her the picture. She looked at it, her face flushing slightly. Oh, that? We just bumped into each other. At the bar. It's not a big deal. Mark's caption says otherwise. Mark's an idiot. He's just trying to stir things up. She forced a laugh, but it sounded hollow. I wanted to believe her. I desperately wanted to believe her. But the look in her eyes, the way she avoided my gaze, told a different story. Chloe, please, just be honest with me. There's nothing to be honest about. We're friends, Ava. You're reading too much into this. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand, her usual gesture of comfort. But this time, it felt wrong. The coincidences piled up. Chloe and Liam at the same concert, liking each other's posts on social media, a new, almost flirtatious energy between them whenever they were in the same room. I felt like I was losing my mind. I confided in Sarah, another mutual friend, during a girls' night. I think something's going on between Chloe and Liam, I confessed, my voice trembling. Sarah frowned. I've noticed some weirdness too, she admitted. I didn't want to say anything, but yeah. Trust your gut, Ava. Easier said than done. My gut felt like it was being ripped to shreds. I started subtly investigating, a detective in my own life. It felt pathetic, but I couldn't stop myself. I needed to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. One evening, Chloe left her phone on the coffee table while she went to the bathroom. It buzzed. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't resist. I picked it up and glanced at the notification. A text message from an unknown number, thinking about last night. Can't wait to see you again. My blood ran cold. I quickly snapped a photo of the message and deleted it from Chloe's phone. The guilt was immediate, but so was the confirmation of my worst fears. I decided to play it cool, try to catch them in the act. I accidentally ran into Liam at a bar, pretending it was a surprise. Hey, Liam, fancy seeing you here, I said, trying to sound casual. He looked startled, his eyes darting around the room. Ava, hey, what are you doing here? Just grabbing a drink with some friends, He hesitated, meeting a coworker. Oh, cool. Chloe mentioned she was thinking of checking this place out too. I watched his reaction carefully. He went pale. Oh, really? I haven't seen her. He fidgeted with his drink, avoiding eye contact. I knew it. I just knew it. The next day, Chloe came over, ostensibly to apologize for being distant. As she rummaged through her purse, I spotted something tucked inside a gift receipt. I waited until she went to the kitchen to grab us some water, then I snatched the receipt and unfolded it. It was for a delicate silver bracelet. A bracelet I recognized. Bracelet Liam had bought for his ex-girlfriend, Sarah, back when we were first dating. He told me how much Sarah loved it and how she never took it off. The way he spoke about it was like he wanted to still be dating her. My head swam. I felt like I was going to be sick. The insomnia started. I'd lie awake for hours, replaying every interaction with Chloe and Liam, searching for clues I'd missed, wondering how I could have been so blind. I lost my appetite, my clothes hanging loosely on my frame. I was a mess. Daniel, a colleague at work, noticed my distress. He was kind, intelligent, and genuinely interested in me. He offered a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, a distraction from the constant turmoil in my head. We started grabbing lunch together, then dinner, then drinks after work. He made me laugh, made me feel seen, made me feel almost normal again. One afternoon, Liam called, asking if we could meet up. Just as friends, he insisted. I miss talking to you, Ava. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. I agreed to meet him at his apartment. We talked for a while, catching up on work, friends, life in general. He seemed genuinely remorseful about the breakup, admitting that he'd made mistakes. I almost felt a pang of sympathy for him. As I was leaving, I noticed something glinting on his bedside table. A delicate silver necklace. My eyes narrowed. It was a simple chain with a tiny charm, the letter C. My stomach dropped. I picked it up, my hands trembling. What's this? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Liam's face drained of color. He stammered, it's just a necklace. It's Chloe's initial, Liam. He didn't say anything. He couldn't. The truth was written all over his face. I dropped the necklace on the table, my heart shattering into a million pieces. I have to go, I said, turning and walking out the door, tears streaming down my face. The anonymous message arrived late that night. It was a screenshot of a text exchange between Liam and Chloe. Chloe, can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Winking face, same time, same place. Liam wouldn't miss it for the world. Face blowing a kiss below the screenshot was an address and a time. A local restaurant tomorrow at 8 p.m. I stared at the message, my mind racing. I felt numb, disoriented, like I was watching a movie of my own life. I made a decision. The next evening, I arrived at the restaurant a few minutes before 8 p.m. I spotted them immediately, sitting at a table in the corner, holding hands, laughing. They looked happy, disgustingly happy. I took a deep breath and walked over to their table. They both looked up, their faces registering shock and horror. Ava, Chloe gasped. Liam's eyes widened. What are you doing here? I stood there, my arms crossed, trying to control the tremor in my voice. I think I deserve an explanation, I said, my voice shaking. There's nothing to explain, Chloe said defensively. You're jumping to conclusions. Oh, really? Because I've got a whole string of texts and meetings to tell me otherwise. I glared at Liam, then at Chloe. The lies, the deceit, all behind my back. And you, I said, turning back to Chloe, my voice laced with venom. My best friend. I trusted you. How could you do this to me? Chloe burst into tears. I don't know, she sobbed. It just happened. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just happened. I repeated, incredulous. You slept with my boyfriend. My ex-boyfriend, whatever. But still. You betrayed me, Liam finally spoke up, his voice low and pleading. Ava, please, let me explain. Explain what, Liam? Explain how you managed to betray both your girlfriend and your best friend at the same time. Explain how you could be so selfish and disrespectful. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. I don't need an explanation. I just need you both out of my life. I turned and walked away, leaving them sitting there, speechless and ashamed. The tears streamed down my face, but this time they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of anger, of betrayal, of relief. I had finally confronted them. I had finally stood up for myself, and I had finally realized that I deserved so much better. I cut ties with both Chloe and Liam. Blocked them on social media, changed my phone number, avoided places where I knew they might be. It was hard, especially with Chloe. We had so much history, so many shared memories, but I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't trust her ever again. Liam tried to reach out, leaving voicemails, sending emails, even showing up at my apartment. But I ignored him. I had nothing left to say. I leaned on Sarah and Daniel for support. Sarah listened patiently as I ranted and raved, offering words of comfort and encouragement. Daniel was a constant source of strength, always there to make me laugh, to remind me of my worth. I started therapy, working through my feelings of grief, anger, and loss. It was a long and painful process, but it helped me to understand my patterns, to identify my triggers, to heal from the wounds of betrayal. Chloe sent me a letter a few weeks later. It was filled with apologies, explanations, and justifications. She claimed that she was lonely, that she felt neglected by me, that Liam had swept her off her feet. I read the letter, then I threw it away. I didn't care about her excuses. She had made her choice, and now she had to live with the consequences. I focused on rebuilding my life. I threw myself into my work, excelling in my role and earning a promotion. I started taking yoga classes, rediscovering my love of painting, spending more time with my family and friends. I traveled, explored new cities, and embraced new experiences. Slowly but surely, the pain began to fade. The memories of Chloe and Liam became less sharp, less painful. I started to feel like myself again, confident, independent, and strong. One evening, Daniel took me to a fancy restaurant for dinner. We laughed, we talked, we shared a bottle of wine. As we were walking home, he stopped me on the street and took my hands in his. "Ava," he said softly, "I know you've been through a lot, and I know you're still healing. But I wanted to tell you that I care about you. A lot." I looked into his eyes, his kind, honest eyes, and I saw a future I hadn't dared to imagine. A future filled with love, trust, and happiness. I smiled. "I care about you too, Daniel." He leaned in and kissed me, a gentle, tender kiss that filled me with hope. A few months later, I ran into Sarah at a coffee shop. She told me that Chloe and Liam were still together. They had moved to another city, started a new life. She also said that Chloe was pregnant with Liam's child. I felt a pang of something, but it wasn't sadness or jealousy. It was pity. Pity for Chloe, who had made such a terrible choice, who was now tied to Liam forever. Pity for Liam, who had betrayed everyone he cared about, who was now stuck in a relationship built on lies and deceit. I realized that I was lucky. I had escaped their toxic world. I had learned a valuable lesson, and I had found someone who truly valued and respected me. I had a final, cathartic email to Chloe, expressing my pain and disappointment, but also wishing her well and hoping that she could find happiness. I told her that I forgave her, not for her sake, but for my own. I closed that chapter of my life and I moved on. I embraced my future, focusing on my own happiness and well-being. I learned to trust again, to love again, to believe in myself again. And I realized that sometimes the greatest betrayals can lead to the greatest transformations. I am strong, I am resilient, and I am finally free.